let's talk about generics in F#. And when I say generics, what I'm referring to are generic types of particular attributes that we use in our programs. So whenever we write our programs, F# would normally infer what kind of types we're using, and in that way make us aware of what we can use in what places. But if we write special F# code, we can actually create generic functions and so forth that accept multiple types as input arguments. In order to see what I mean, let's define a simple function. We're going to call this function makeList, and it's going to take two input parameters, a and b. Note that I'm not specifying any types of these as of yet. F# just filled in this -a and -b here, but I never wrote that myself. And let's just make a return statement here. So let's just do AB. So we create a list with these two attributes. That's all we do. And if you look at the signature up here, you can see that it infers the type -a and -a for both of these. And this is a generic type. And what that means is we could send in floats, for example, when we initialize a list here, or we could send in strings if we want. That would also work. So both of these attributes would work, and that's why we have this generic input type -a. Okay, another way we could do this is if we create another function. So let's make function 1 like so. We would specify the input parameters normally, and if we want to explicitly specify the type of these, we would put them in parentheses. And when you do this, you can yourself write -a like this, and that will infer the type, or that will correspond to you telling F# that this should be generic. And if we take 2, we could do this for the second parameter as well, like so. And then after that, we would put the body of the function in here. So we could do, well, whatever we want, but for the sake of the argument, that's the only important part. We could also do what's called an explicitly generic constructor, and that would be done in the following way. So we would define a new function, func2, and instead of just putting in input parameters with sort of a generic type, we could actually specify that here already, that the type is generic. We could do -t like this, and that's going to tell us that this function is of generic type. And then we would specify some input parameters here, and then we would use this generic type like so. There we go. And then we would specify the body. So we could simply do like a print statement in here. So let's say we do that, and then, whoops, there we go. And we would print these, these two attributes, like so. X, Y. Okay, so that would be a generic function, and then we can have generic types for these attributes as well. So that's a quick introduction to generic types, and it allows you to write code that applies to a number of different types.